first preseason game of the year. That is the starting five. No SGA. He is getting the night off for rest, but two players making their Thunder debuts. Cason Wallace, of course, who was drafted number 10 out of Kentucky. You saw him there being announced last, and of course, Chet Holmgren. And for more on Chet, let's send it over for the first time this year to Nick Gallo.
Thanks, Chris. Well, I got to catch up with Chet about this first preseason game of the year. The first time he's gotten to wear a Thunder jersey in a game, and he said that the word that's going to be going through his mind is gratitude, but he's not here just to have fun and laugh. He is here to compete with his teammates and be aggressive out there on the court. He understands, like the rest of this team, this is going to be a process of discovery to find an efficient and effective play style for himself, just like every other player on the team. And the coaching staff, the team, their job is to align those styles to complement one another and hold this team to a standard of competing together for 48 minutes every night.
All right, thank you, Nick. And Michael, you and I asked him on Media Day if there was anybody more excited than he was about this game here tonight. And he said, let's not make a challenge out of it.
You know, and that's a really great answer, too, because it lets you know that he understands this is a process. You know, he's a professional athlete. He's been one for over a season now, and this is his rookie debut. How about the fact that he's at home? He's in front of the Thunder crowd. There's a nice turnout here tonight. And you talk about him being the second overall pick in the draft. How about the #1 overall pick in this year's draft in Victor Wembanyama?
A couple of 7-footers with some tantalizing offensive skills. This is the first of 5 preseason games. Michael, what are you expecting here tonight?
Well, you know, obviously it's still training camp, and you know, this is where you test your system. You know, San Antonio has a system, the Thunder have a system, your offense, your defense, you know, getting guys to understand the right spot they need to be in, as the Thunder will control the tip. Lou Dort still in it, basically.
And away we go here in the preseason. Beginning this long march this season that's going to last over the next 7 months. First offensive possession, and Giddey got tied up by Tre Jones. And so San Antonio with the basketball. There is Wembanyama. First touch, gives it right inside. Collins is going to get fouled. And so Collins will go to the free throw line. A San Antonio team that had a scrimmage a couple of days ago. The Spurs, though, coming off of a really tough year where they went 22-60, which is why they had the #1 overall pick, won the draft lottery to get Wembanyama, and in a full rebuild.
And they still have a lot of talent on this team. I'll tell you one thing, they got a lot of talent on the sideline as well, and Greg Popovich, as he is just an iconic figure for the San Antonio Spurs organization. Just put him in the Hall of Fame now. I mean, don't even bother with the jacket. Just give it to him now.
Well, you can't do it quite yet, Michael, because they just gave him a 5-year extension through 2028.
I mean, he's just, you know, it's just rare to see a coach really be in with the same organization as long as he's been with the Spurs. You know, notwithstanding all the titles they've won.
And the deep catch, no, it was knocked away momentarily by Giddey. And now the pass to an open shooter in the corner, and that is good for Tre Jones. 4th-year player out of Duke. San Antonio going to be without its top scorer tonight, and Keldon Johnson from a season ago, as Dort will kick it outside. Jalen Williams, first shot a little bit short.
You talk about, you know, with a training camp, and this is just an extension of where you're going in terms of your practice. Now, you've been beating up each other for what, the past week, and you finally get a chance to get out and play against someone in a different uniform. And it's always a big, exciting moment for a young player.
Short on the shot is Giddey, and Wembanyama is not going to get that pass as Dort is able to track it down and knock it out of bounds. Well, the first week, Mark Daigneault said about setting the foundation, Michael, as you're talking about training camp, setting expectations for the environment, which is professionalism, collective mentality, just the fundamentals that oftentimes get overlooked.
You know, and that's a lot of, you know, that's overlapping from a season ago where, you know, you're still trying to develop a style of play. And that style of play is on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, as Chet Holmgren will get to the free throw line. Nice little spin move for the 7'1" guy. Made it look easy.
What are you looking forward to seeing from him, Michael? And obviously, he was with the Thunder all of last season to really try to maximize the fact that he wasn't going to be able to play through routine, schemes, studying, watching film. What do you expect from him?
Well, he's a nice fitting piece because, you know, there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. And you got to remember the Thunder, you know, their roster has been building over the last 3 drafts. You know, we talk about both Jay Will's last year's draft, J-Dub, who was all rookie first team, that's out there on the floor now, Giddey's draft, you know, and then going back further, you know, I'm going to throw Pokashevsky in there in that draft class. You know, it's really starting to overlap. So there's no pressure on him. Just be yourself. Get out there. Learn the intangibles of the game. Put in the work.
As Jalen Williams is going to get the and one. That one goes in as he bowled over Trey Jones. And that's going to be a +1 for Williams, who is so physical. And I don't know if television is going to do justice with just how big he is and how much force he's playing with on the offensive end.
Well, you know, Trey Jones was out of that restricted area, but he kind of did a little bunny hop as J-Dub was up in the air. And that's what gave way to that 3-point play opportunity.
Not able to convert the free throw. The shot from the outside, and that is what Devin Vassell does. He is a very good 3-point shooter. Now entering his 4th year. He just got a contract extension. J-Dub on the left side, no good. He loves that left side. But an offensive rebound by Wallace. There is Holmgren gliding in. Jed Holmgren with the left-handed finish.
And he's just using his God-given talent. You know, very few players can make that kind of play where you can jump outside the restricted area and just glide to the basket before the weak side can get there.
And that's what makes him so intriguing, is when Ɓanyama's shot from the outside is no good. You saw the agility, the athleticism, the ability to show it off. Holmgren in space, as now he spins on Collins once again, putting his head down. That spin move going to result in another trip to the free throw line.
And Zach Collins is having trouble trying to defend that little spin move. How about this? Just nice little glide. Just looks like he's cruising through the landscape like a locomotive.
Well, you just don't see 7-footers with the ball handling skill set, the ability to create offense. And that's something that he has done going back to his days at Gonzaga.
I thought at first you was talking about me, but don't worry, I'm not a 7-footer.
Hey,
okay,
you didn't make the criteria.
So, that's all Chet. Okay, gotcha. He makes both free throws. Terrific body control on both those spins to the bucket. Got him to the charity stripe.
And that dribble handoff unsuccessful. Trey Jones just dribbles it out of bounds. Giddey trying to quickly get into the front court. Trying to push the pace. That's something that we saw this Thunder team do so much last year, Michael. One of the priorities was getting out in space, off turnovers, off makes. It did not matter. They wanted to push the pace.
And that started on the other end with Lou Dort just really grabbing the ball and giving it to the officials to start that break. And why not? Call his name.
Oh, and J-Dub.
Under the three ball.
Step in front of that pass. Giddey going right at Collins. And he'll bank it in off the turnover.
And that's all. You just talked about the pace of the game. That's exactly what's happening, partner. The Thunder picked up the pace of the game. That time coming off a turnover in transition. No difference. Same result, though. Points on the board.
Cason Wallace just got a little introduction to screens in the NBA. He got a little Charlie horse on the thigh. You can see him kind of grimacing a little bit. The first of many screens that the young rookie's going to have to fight over in his rookie year.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice pass inside. Jalen Williams, late whistle, but a foul.
And that's just strength, okay? Now, you can go up, and that's a shot block by most players in this league. Now, I know he's only in his 2nd year out of Santa Clara. I'm talking about J-Dub. He's got 2 free throws at the line. But because he was able to put 2 hands, young players, 2 hands on the basketball, he got fouled and powered through the contact.
Well, of all these young players that the Thunder have put out on the floor over these last couple of years, he is as intriguing as any because of what he did last year over his rookie campaign and the job that he did certainly after the calendar turned from December to January. He might have been the best rookie in the NBA. Of course, Paolo Banchero won Rookie of the Year honors. But the work that Jalen Williams did, Michael, from January to the end of the season, it was really hard to ignore.
Yeah, he was a close second to that Rookie of the Year voting, and certainly deserving of all rookie first team. And, you know, averaging 14 points, come on. And in your rookie season, I mean, that is just saying a whole lot, making a statement, and, you know, certainly benefiting from the system that he's in. Because at time when players were missing, you had a short roster, you know, he stepped up on those nights. Just understanding a lot of times in your rookie season how to be a professional athlete.
And all 5 of those rookies, as you look at the all-rookie first team, they all had stretches where they played really, really good basketball. But Jalen Williams played really good basketball, literally from opening night to the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. 웸반야마 would get inside there using that height to tip in that missed free throw. I tell you, there was a time where J-Dub, at the time, he was electrifying.
Well, they try to hook up on the alley-oop. Holmgren hit the deck. 웸반야ma on the other end. And that'll be an easy jam as the Thunder can't slow it down once that pass got to him. He is 7'4", and he has got agility.
A good job of just patiently waiting, too, for that air traffic to clear.
Dort took the bump, easy whistle, and a foul as he was knocked off his spot. You can see it here from the drive on the wing. And 웸반ya마 is going to pick up that personal foul. And we're not yet 5 minutes into this game, Mike, but this game's got a good pace to it. It's got a good feel. Both these teams engaged.
Well, you can tell that that's certainly a focus for both these teams, because it just seems like the pace, it just continues to pick up as this quarter continues to get closer toward the halfway mark. A lot of activity, a lot of hands passing in the passing lane, shots around the basket. And, you know, still, you got to still tell yourself, this is training camp, because you've been beating up on each other for the past week, and you can't wait to beat up on somebody else. As the Thunder will play the first of 5 preseason games, including tonight.
Something, too, about training camp is you see Mark Daigneault. He says guys come in, they've worked hard all summer long. They're trying to showcase how much they've improved. They obviously want to show that improvement in games and training camp, but it also comes down to, as Dort picks up the personal foul, earning the respect of your teammates. And he says that that's something that this young Thunder team has been trying to do over the first week. That's an easy call.
I don't know what you're talking about. See, when I play in my church league, I get hit like that. They don't give me that call.
We didn't get 5 minutes into the preseason, and we're talking about the church league rules.
Right. I know. I'm just saying, when I play my pickup game, I still play.
You would call that so fast?
I feel that that's a foul. It looks like a foul. It is a foul. Lou Dort didn't argue. I didn't argue. Why do I get argued with? I'm just saying, man. I feel you, Lou. Just, you know, when you foul somebody, you acknowledge it.
Well, you would know, too, because that's all you do now is just camp out behind the three-point line.
Hey, I don't want to get beat up anymore.
I know what it's like getting fouled out there.
It's safer out there.
J-Dub. Oh, and then 웸반ya마 from the backside shows his capabilities. He was beat off the dribble initially, but that big, long wingspan, it looked like J-Dub had a clear lane to the rim. Did not happen. It'll be Thunder basketball first timeout of preseason game number 1. It's the Spurs and the Thunder. We are underway.
Paycom Center preseason is here. Training camp is here, and training camp marks the beginning of an entire new season. And with every season comes its own unknowns. But for the Thunder, they're actually coming into this week of training camp with a lot of familiarity. We've been able to talk to a lot of players and a lot of coaches, and one thing we've heard as a theme throughout training camp, in addition to the competitiveness and physicality, has been the continuity that this team has experienced early on in training camp. The Thunder has returned 15 players from last year's roster. That's 15 guys who know the system, know their roles, and know each other. And Shea told us we're a little bit further along than we've been in the past, which is a good thing. We know what we want to accomplish, and we have the building blocks. It's just about getting better, and that, guys, has been the team's focus so far throughout this first week of camp.
Yeah, it certainly helps to have that familiarity as the Thunder just more advanced when it comes to concepts and what they're trying to teach within the system, Michael, as opposed to conditioning and drills. Guys just caught up. They know what to expect coming into this camp, and they can work on different things.
Yeah, how about this guy? You know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the numbers he put up last year, 4th in the league in scoring at over 31 a game. So you got that kind of familiarity, as Paris Lawson was talking about in training camp this year. All a year older, a year wiser.
And still one of the youngest teams in the NBA is 웸반야ma went right at Holmgren. Holmgren's the one that's going to take the double blow. Not only did he get the foul called on him, but he took a shot to the chops. And so Holmgren picks up the personal foul, the 2 7-footers. And this is just going to be a fun matchup in the Western Conference. And it looked like 웸반야마's head got him right on the jaw.
Yeah. So he fouled him with his jaw, is what you're saying.
Well, he got him with his head on his jaw.
I didn't see anything else. 웸banya마 did a good job of just putting his head down and going right into his chest. As he completes the three-point play, he now has 7 points to lead the Spurs.
Everybody looking forward to seeing those two go at it in the Western Conference over the next few years. Obviously, Holmgren went number 2 in 2022. 웸banyama goes 1 in 2023. Collins, that's going to miss. And another rebound for J-Dub. Quick pace up ahead. And you see Giddey with that size, and he snaps that cross-court pass over to Holmgren. That three is good. And so Chet Holmgren shows why he is so dangerous on the offensive end because of his inside and outside game.
And he's also shown why spacing is still a big part of this league. And when you got a guy on the box like Josh Giddey, he's backed him down and just fired a rocket through the lane, hit him right in that shooting pocket. This is just a beautiful play here, folks. Watch it. High school coaches watch it. Spacing, quick pass, on the money, skips 2 zones when he passes it.
Michael, you would never see that play back in the 90s or the early 2000s. You had the point guard who was the one in the post backing him down, firing it out to the number 5, the center outside shooting the 3.
I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I was playing in the 90s or whatever, but I was busy, okay?
You were busy on the block.
You're right. But, you know, and that's the thing, too, when you got a big guy on the floor like 웸banyama, and I'm going to throw Chet in there also for the Thunder. When you have spacing like that, it really neutralizes their shot blocking ability because he's got to now run out of the lane to try to go challenge that shot.
Interesting, you see San Antonio is not putting the 웸banyama out on Holmgren and putting Collins on Holmgren. And now J-Dub did not want to drive, had one shot blocked. 웸banyama looked like he might have gotten a piece of that one. Offensive rebound by Cason Wallace. Now Wallace. Knocked away, that's a turnover. And now it's 웸banyama. And he got behind Chet Holmgren for the jam. And he can take off from deep. We were watching him in warm-ups, Michael, and he can suck up a lot of space in a hurry.
Well, that's what, you know, he's just using that God-given talent to just get to the bucket. And how about a God-given talent get him to the bucket by Chet Holmgren, taking the contact and kissing it off the glass.
Boy, an aggressive first quarter so far from Holmgren, going right at Collins, the veteran center. A couple of players from Gonzaga. That's bulldog on bulldog.
Hey, that was a bulldog move, too. Yeah, Chet got a little bit of blood on his face. It may have happened on that previous play, possibly.
But we did see him.
Victor 웸banyama.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun to watch those two over the next couple of years. Obviously, Holmgren had to miss all of last year. Now 웸banyama and all the hype coming in with him with San Antonio. And think about Chet, he said, look, I was trying to kind of get some of the rust off over Summer League and all the pickup games that these guys play over the course of the summer. But there's nothing like coming back and actually getting live NBA action.
Nothing replaces that. And it looks like he's just having, you know, having the kind of focus that he's talked about a lot. You know, watching him come. This is his season started in Las Vegas at the Summer League, where he was able to get out and kind of get those sea legs back under him. Here again, getting off to a terrific start in this first quarter.
And there was a drive and a finish inside by Branham. First-round picks from a season ago. Look at Giddey for that turnaround shot. He can shoot that over Jones, and that's one of the things he's really going to try to take advantage of. We saw it a lot last year, Michael, those matchups where he's got the size.
Well, he's a 6'8" point guard. When he backs you down like that, I mean, what are you going to do at 6'2", 6'3"?
Collins blocked by Holmgren.
Did he block that flat-footed? I'm not sure. My goodness.
He just swallowed up Collins, who had no shot of getting that shot off. Now Giddey, the action. Holmgren knew it was going to be short, got his own miss. Turns around, contorts the body, and somehow got it up and over the rim.
Yeah, that's just length, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to say that's a high-level move that he worked on his whole life. That's just being smart with the basketball, not bringing it down, and just putting it right in the basket. Man, looked like he just threw it in there. And that's a problem for a lot of guys that are smaller than Chet Holmgren.
Holmgren follows up the miss once again. The athleticism.
Well, you know, I'm not counting points because it's preseason, but he's got 12 points. And it's all plays like that where they're making him work to score his buckets.
And he is all over the place, inside, outside, get to the free throw line, and McDermott on that leaner might have got chipped on the way.
I stand corrected. He's got 14 points now. How about this? Zach Collins forgot that he was 7'1", and look at this, folks. I mean, just spinning, showing that body control that a lot of guys that size, that length don't have. As he'll go to the sidelines here, folks, with 3:53 to go in this first quarter with those 14 points.
Well, not only the 14 points, but the 7 rebounds. And the crowd, of course, gave him a big round of applause. And let's check in with Nick for the first time.
Well, guys, we're seeing the versatile guard skills that Chet Holmgren has. Of course, being able to spot up in the corner like you were talking about earlier, but also the ability to block a shot, then start the transition opportunity and finish acrobatically around the rim. We're going to continue to see his versatility throughout this season. It's one of the reasons why the Thunder is so excited to orient him with this team as he continues to carve out his own path for efficient, effective basketball.
And there is McDermott doing what he has done his entire career as he drills that three. Timeout on the floor from Mark Daigneault at the 3:23 mark. Chet Holmgren, 14 first quarter points in the 8 minutes of action that you've seen so far. Training camp got underway on Tuesday, the day after Media Day. Let's hear from head coach Mark Daigneault on what he wants to get out of preseason game number 1.
It's help defense. It's getting our coverages communicated, transition defense, and then offensively it's playing to our identity and guys playing to their individual styles and seeing how consistently we do those things, you know, and that's going to be the points of emphasis for us in January, you know, in March and 2026.
You're chuckling, Michael, and I am kind of too, because it's funny to hear him say it. Look, it doesn't matter whether it's in training camp practice number 1, preseason game number 1, regular season game number 59, or any game in 2028, those are going to be the same Thunder principle.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why you have these overlapping draft classes. A young team that's really been able to understand the values of the game so well, and Mark Daigneault has done a great job at the helm of that, really orchestrating the development of a lot of these young guys on the floor. As the Thunder head into their 16th season of Thunder basketball here in Oklahoma City.
And the Thunder head into their bench a little bit here for the final 3 minutes of this first quarter. Jay Will on the floor, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Ousmane Dieng as Lou Dort with a little mid-range shot. We saw him dabble in that a little bit over the course of last season to try to expand his game.
Well, I thought the big adjustment he made last year was that, you know, he was attacking the rim. He was getting to the basket and making those plays. And when they collapsed on him, he was kicking it out to shooters. Adding that little mid-range touch there, that's a big plus there.
Wiggins did everything but finish at the rim. That little hesitation. Aaron Wiggins says he feels a little bit like a veteran. As McDermott off the drive, and so McDermott usually planted out behind the three-point line. He already made 1 3, and he's got the drive.
Well, he's one of those guys you don't mind chasing him off that line. He makes a tough layup like that because he really wants to shoot threes. And that's a big part of what McDermott does, former Thunder player as well, is knock down those threes.
And Mark Davis calls the foul near side, and I believe that's going to go against Wesley, number 14. And so Isaiah Joe to the free throw line. And this time last year, Michael, Isaiah Joe was not part of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Remember, he was a late cut by the Philadelphia 76ers at the end of training camp, which is when he hooked up with Oklahoma City. And boy, did he have himself a season.
I thought he fitted in like a well-worn shoe. And now he's a young player, and I say that with respect, because he just hit the ground running with the Thunder. Understood right away the opportunity that he was given, you know, a 3-year contract as well, and just really performed like a professional over the last season, almost like he's been here longer. He's fit in so well.
I think that's the key that you talk about. He just fit in. Started making shots, was reliable on the defensive end as Branham just inside the three-point line for San Antonio. And the Spurs have the 7-point lead. Spurs put up 36 first-quarter points. There is Joe, got to his spot. Nice shot. He's always got that great arc. And San Antonio back the other way. This is Osman over Cleveland Cavalier. Pass deflected out of bounds.
Good job, and that's what you want to do when you chase. He's another shooter, like McDermott. Make him put the ball on the floor and force him to try to make a pass under pressure. You saw what happened. It became a deflection and a reset for the Spurs as
they ran that play specifically to get McDermott that shot on the inbounds pass.
He's one of those quick trigger guys. He doesn't need a whole lot of time to get that shot going.
Jay Will tried to go to the spin move, had it knocked away, and a Thunder turnover. Here comes Wesley. You talked about it, Michael. There is Osman on the three-point shot, no good. Final minute here of quarter number 1. J-Dub. There's another strip. You see the Spurs there slapping at that basketball, particularly on the drives of the Thunder players. And OKC turns it over. So final minute. San Antonio team with a ton of young players. As first trying to send it outside. Osman getting harassed, and he just did get the bounce. Rolls in off the rim for Osman. He said the first couple of years of his career with Cleveland. J-Dub rumbling down the line. Turned it over. So a couple of turnovers here late in the first quarter.
The Spurs are doing a good job of just getting their hands on a lot of drives to the bucket. Not necessarily the primary defender, but that weak side guy.
As Wesley pulls up outside the free throw line. This should be the final possession of the first quarter. And Mark Dagnall talk about the priorities on the defensive end. J-Dub once again in traffic, and with 1.7 seconds on the game clock, Jalen Williams will go to the free throw line.
Good job of forcing the Fins to put air in that whistle. Had a couple of tough drives to the basket in this quarter. J-Dub hasn't gotten that whistle, but went all the way deep in the paint, held on to that basketball strong. Now he's got 2 free throws as we look to close out the quarter here, folks. First preseason game for the Thunder here at the Paycom Center in downtown Oklahoma City.
Always so good to be back in this building, and we're never going to take the fans for granted ever again. And just so good to feel the fans' energy, their excitement coming into this year. I haven't seen this Thunder team since April 14th, full capacity. That was that play-in game. 1.7 seconds, don't want to foul. You see Isaiah Joe keeping his hands off of McDermott, who almost banked it in. He beat the buzzer. It would have counted, but that closes out this first quarter here in this preseason game number 1. Chet Holmgren, boy, he had himself a solid stint with those 14 points. San Antonio, though, with the lead. We'll go to the second here in OKC. Now, Thunder basketball is indeed back for the first time in nearly 6 months. We see this Thunder team, and it's coming to you from Paycom Center in downtown Oklahoma City. First quarter stats between the Thunder and the Spurs, and obviously San Antonio, Michael, had it going offensively, shooting it at almost 63%. Both teams getting to the free throw line, and both teams trying to get inside.
Well, you like the aggressiveness that the Thunder showed in that first quarter. They had 14 free throw attempts in that first quarter. Now, the Spurs have the lead. They took 24 shots. How about this? The Thunder took 27 shots in that first quarter. That lets you know how active. So you want to continue to stay active. That shooting percentage will continue to rise as the game wears on, too. As 웸반야마 throws the ball to the first row. Thunder will gladly take that to start the quarter.
Well, Victor Wembanyama, who was determined that he was going to be the #1 pick well before the draft this past June, Michael. Everybody knew that he was going to be taken first. It was just a matter of where he was going to go. And that's going to be an easy call. Isaiah Joe got smacked on the head by McDermott. So one three-point shooter knocks over another. Isaiah Joe is about to get 3 free throws.
Now you see, that works on both ends of the floor because that's what Doug McDermott will do to you, and also Isaiah Joe will do to you also on that same play. Man, you just trail them, you keep trailing them, you keep dodging and ducking picks, and at the final moment, you end up bumping the shooter. That's one of those, you don't even look at the coach. You just go, I know. I'm just going to walk on the other end of the floor as Isaiah Joe would take his 3 free throws.
Single game tickets for the 2023-24 regular season of Thunder basketball are on sale now. Join us here at Paycom Center and get your tickets at okcthunder.com/buy tickets. Regular season is coming. Well, no more withdrawals, Michael. Basketball is here. We've seen some preseason games around the NBA pop up. This #1 for OKC, the first of 5, but a full slate, long regular season, which is going to start at the end of October. Just cannot wait to get things going. There's still some work to be done here in the preseason. Holmgren, and that pass deflected and ultimately a turnover when Wembanyama punches it up ahead to Wesley. He'll leave it off, and Vassell missed it, but the follow by Bassi. J-Dub is open. And Bassi the rebound. That's going to be a foul as Williams. J-Dub on the backside of Wemby, just trying to jump that passing lane.
That's a tough call. And he said he grabbed him around the waist, but I thought J-Dub did a good job. You know, the guy pulls a chair, he just runs around the guy and steals the ball. And officials did not agree as Mark Davis made the call. Not a lot of contact there, but.
Oh, the back door, and McDermott just did beat Isaiah Joe. And you talked about it, Michael, the two of them.
Yeah, they're going in. They know each other very well.
Oh, and Wemby with the foul on Joe. Yeah. The shot was blocked momentarily, but too much contact. And so Joe, who's already been fouled on a 3-point shot this quarter, is going to go back for 3 more free throws.
Yeah, and rookie might have been baited into this one because, when you get the scouting report is on Isaiah Joe, you got to get to him quickly. And, Wembanyama knows that. He just got to him a little bit too quickly. And easy call for the official, and I like how the official is just talking with Wembanyama over there as Jenna Renault is saying, "Look, what do you want? You bumped him, you ran over him. That's an easy call for me too, right?" Victor shook his head. Yeah.
Let's get more from Nick.
Well, guys, earlier we were talking about how it feels like Isaiah Joe has been here for longer than just 1 year, actually less than a year. And I got to catch up with him about that. He reflected on the last 12 months or so. He said, as soon as I got here, the team, the players, they welcomed me with open arms and really helped build chemistry with me right off the bat. Of course, having a familiar face in Jalen Williams, fellow Fort Smith guy, certainly helped. But he said he really loves this team, this locker room, and is really looking forward to building with them again this season.
You hear that so much, Michael, from this young Thunder team, them building the chemistry together, everybody welcoming. And that's something that they have built from scratch over the last couple of years. And Isaiah Joe certainly welcomed immediately when he joined the Thunder last year.
Yeah, he wasn't a part of the 3 draft classes that the Thunder have, but certainly a part of the 2 that's played. And we talked about it. He's fit in very well.
How about the matchup tonight for Jalen Williams? He has been going at Victor Wembanyama on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. There's a spin move there, and Wiggins, nicely done, and a little flick to finish.
And nice little hang time there at the end to stop those shot blockers from going at it. He had 2 defenders going at that shot.
Jalen Williams was right up on Wembanyama, who can shoot over the top of him, and now Williams is going to commit the foul, and Wembanyama is going to get 3 free throws as he hits the deck. So we have seen some fouls on some 3-point shooters already here in this first half.
There's Wiggins.
And Mark Daigneault, who's out on the floor, and I believe he's going to call a timeout because he wants to initiate a coach's challenge, which this year you get 2 only if you're correct on the first.
So if you get the first one, you get the second one.
Correct. But
you and I talked about that last year, right?
We lobbied for this change in the rules in terms of...
Oklahoma City has called a timeout to initiate the coach's challenge on the shooting foul.
All right. So Mark Davis is going to look at the monitor. We'll take a break and hopefully have the ruling.
Upon review, the coach's challenge by Oklahoma City has been ruled successful, as there was no illegal contact. The contact was on the high five after the release. There was no imminent possession. We go jump ball center circle between any 2 players in the game at the time, and the timeout will still be charged to OKC as it was their first of the quarter.
All right, so Mark Davis with the explanation, and I believe that the call has been overturned, and so it is a successful challenge from Mark Daigneault. And based off of this, Jalen Williams, that slight graze, but not enough contact to constitute a foul.
Yeah.
And so the Thunder have a challenge remaining in this game because it was a successful challenge, and since nobody had the basketball, it means that there is a jump ball. So no imminent possession after the foul, and that's why it's 웸반야마 and Holmgren here at center court.
And the Thunder will be charged a foul for the quarter. They'll just retain their challenge.
Charge the timeout.
Excuse me, yes, charge the timeout. Thank you, partner.
But San Antonio does win the tip, so there's a lot of elements to that play, some newly instituted elements over the last couple of years. As Vassell's jump shot well short, but an offensive rebound by Bassi. Champagny from the outside, and he will cash in that 3. So that's one of the new rule changes. And you and I have been lobbying a long time.
And I think that's been the consensus from a lot of people around the league, to just kind of clean that up a little bit. You know, where a lot of guys are just falling. And there's been a few other rule changes, partner, here coming up for this season.
Well, get ready. They got rid of the take foul last year with the technical free throw. Now they're trying to get rid of end-game flopping. And so there will be a penalty. It's going to be up to the officials. It's going to result in a technical foul on a particular player that will result in 1 free throw. J-Dub once again chugging right down the line. He's going to go to the free throw line. And Michael, you know anything about flopping? Because it's going to be a technical foul if the referee deems it a flopping penalty.
Well, you know, that's something that I think we all going to have to work on. Hey, man, I flop every time I go outside. I open my garage door. I just flop, you know.
You looking for a whistle?
I think something's coming out, you know, something's waiting on me out there, you know, so I'm going to work. I'm going to clean it up, folks, just like we will, too. But, you know, just like that, you know, you flopped. You know, you make a little flop when somebody comes at you.
Well, there is a specific criteria, and the officials have to abide by what is technically called STEM, secondary theatrical exaggerated movements. Oh! And much like a take foul, it's up to the official's discretion to make the call. Boy, 웸반야ma, what a move on the spin, and then goes with the left hand, got right around Holmgren, and you see that tantalizing offensive skill set.
That was terrific body control, and then kissing it off the glass with the left hand, just showing you the talent level he possesses.
Ousmane Dieng, and 웸반yama now with the turnover, then goes behind his back, sets it up, and Wesley just missed the alley-oop. J-Dub, now a spin. It's the Thunder on the other end, and J-Dub on the finger roll, and it rolls off. Boy, back and forth. Wesley, and we get a whistle and a foul as Giddey reached in with that right hand, got too much arm, and that is a foul on Josh Giddey. Boy, this was something.
This will show you what, it's 7'4" something and some change. Just showing you terrific body control. We talked about Chet Holmgren making a couple of plays like that in the first quarter. Just showing you the level of body control that someone that size possesses.
And now he steps behind the three-point line and drains it. Boy, 웸반야ma showing all of the skill that he has and all the skill that made him the top overall pick. Holmgren from the outside, and they'll exchange threes. Holmgren from deep's got his second three.
He says, whatever you do, I can do better, or at the same level. That's just beautiful basketball, folks. That's why you love NBA basketball. Plays like that, young, talented players. Just showing their skill sets.
Well, you think about those two 7-footers, Michael, in the Western Conference, and the NBA really trying to kind of create that rivalry between the two of them because of where they were drafted, and of course being in the Western Conference. And Chet not playing last year, this essentially being his rookie year, and of course 웸반야ma's rookie year. Fun matchup between those two.
Well, and a lot of times, rivalries will happen organically. It's just a nice move that time by Giddey, just going right over the top of a smaller defender. He did a play like that in that first quarter. Like a Groundhog Day from that same spot on the floor, folks.
Go right over Jones, and once again, boy, 웸반야ma from the outside. He only played 2 summer league games for San Antonio, and that's all the Spurs needed to see to feel like he was ready. Dort is going to get 2 free throws.
Well, 웸반yamas just showing you his skill sets. I mean, you know, when the information came out on him a lot of times last year, it was always kind of, you know, sketchy, you know, always just bits and pieces, because, you know, they can show you the highlights you want to see about a player like that, and you go, man, okay. But, you know, real players, we go, all right, we want to see more than the sample size. Well, you're kind of seeing that tonight, folks. He's going to be a terrific player in this league. Last year's #1 overall draft pick.
And he was going to be the #1 pick for a while. It was not a mystery. Of course, played over in Europe from France, just 19 years old and 7'4". There's just not anything like him that we've seen in the league. As Dort's first free throw drops in, and that gives us a chance to check in with Paris.
Well, you guys are talking about Victor 웸반yama. He's actually standing right next to his fellow Frenchman, Ousmane Dieng, and those two actually have an interesting connection. The two played together for the French national team back in 2019, and Nick actually caught up with Ousmane before the game, and he told us that Victor's a really good player and also a really good guy, and it's going to be really exciting playing against him since he's my friend. And guys, before the game tonight, Ousmane and Victor both shared a big hug at half court after seeing each other for the first time here at Paycom.
Well, just leading that international charge here in the NBA is more and more players from overseas coming to play in the NBA. 웸반yama the latest. Ousmane Dieng, of course. Thunder were trying to get the charge call there, didn't get it. More free throws coming up here for Tre Jones. And the Spurs, Isaiah Joe was part of that charging brigade that the Thunder had last year. He drew a ton of charges, along with Kenrich Williams and Jalen Williams. It was a sort of a prideful stat that we saw from this Thunder team last year.
And you know what? And I think taking a charge is just as effective as blocking a shot. Because a lot of times you block a shot, you don't always get that ball back. But when you take a charge, you know you're getting that ball back, and you're tacking on a foul to your opposing team.
And that ball is kicked out of bounds by Branham.
You know, I've always said taking a charge is an art. And I want to get Paris Lawson's take on it as well, because she was a point guard at Belmont. It's a hard thing to do and read, trying to figure out how you're going to take a charge as Jordan will get it inside to Josh Giddey. But I really want to get her take on that. I was never good at it. Paris Lawson, did you hear my comment?
Oh, taking charges, Mike?
Did you take them?
They called me the president of the charge club back at Belmont. You might want to go back and talk to my college coach. That was what I was known for.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Nick Gallo to get on his computer and kind of
look it up,
that. Nick.
Confirm that, Nick.
Fishy to me, guys.
Yeah, right.
That sounds a little fishy.
Hey, look, defense was my specialty, Michael Cage.
I got you.
Whoa. Paris has been talking for 4 years about how she was a three-point shooter.
Yeah, sharpshooter, Paris. What? Now
Yeah, what? All of a sudden,
defensive
I hold
specialist?
down the defense on the crew.
Yeah, she was a sharpshooter last night at the Fan Fest, not very far from here.
It's called 3 and D, guys. You got to be good at both.
3 and D. I like that, Lawson.
Nick keeping her honest. I like it. Lou Dort from the outside on a wide open look at that three.
That's always a tough shot. The ball gets deflected in your hands. The defense doesn't move, and you're standing out there by yourself, and you got to shoot a three-point shot flat-footed. No problem for Lou Dort.
And Osman. More free throws coming up for San Antonio. Spurs have already been to the line 14 times past the midway point of quarter number 2. Osman. Hey, but even if you're standing out there and the ball comes your way and you realize you're open, that's the best.
Yeah, well, you still got to make the shot, though. I mean, see, that just goes to show you, okay? Paris Lawson, Nick Gallo, they're rhythm shooters. You're not a rhythm shooter. You just got to, like, stand there, catch it, shoot it flat-footed.
It doesn't matter. I'm still putting it up. No problem. I'm still firing.
Come on, man. A lot of free throws shot, folks, so far in this first half of basketball between the two teams. That is free throws, 16 attempts for the Spurs.
Is that right? Thunder have 24 free throws?
24. Wow, man, that must be preseason.
Quick ball movement, swings it down to Cason Wallace. Got the start in his professional debut. Isaiah Joe, little pick in action there on the outside with Jalen Williams. They had a great connection last season, particularly out on the perimeter. As that one rattles in, I believe that is Branham, Malachi Branham. One of the 3 first-round draft picks for San Antonio in 2022. See Giddey eyeing that defense outside. Jalen Williams, his first boom of this new season.
Did we hear the ball?
I didn't hear it, though.
Okay.
I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. A little disappointed.
Well, and he did a good job of spacing the floor. Now, Chet Holmgren got a play like that in that first quarter, as well as the Thunder would turn over the Spurs. Get another good look by one of your better free throw three-point shooters. As Isaiah Joe will force the Spurs to call timeout off of another tray ball. How about that, folks? That's back-to-back deep threes by the Thunder.
Com Center as OKC takes on the San Antonio Spurs in their first preseason game. But the fun really began last night, just a couple of blocks away from Paycom Center at the community court called The Cage. The Thunder kicked off the new season with the OKC Thunder Fan Fest, and there was so much fun happening in this event. There was face painting, there was food trucks, there was even a performance by DJ Cool. But the fun really took place on those courts, on the community court. There was a three-point contest. There was even a dunk contest. I was able to be a judge of that dunk contest alongside our very own Michael Cage and alongside Jonathan Reed, who actually runs the Enid Outlaws, the team that Lindy Waters III used to play for. And everybody was really anticipating that Michael Cage was going to get up and dunk and show off his skills as a big man, but he tricked the whole crowd. He didn't get up at all, but he was a really, really tough judge and saw a lot of really quality dunks out there during the dunk contest.
You're right. We had so much fun. That guy right there, man, got me all excited there last night, man. I thought I could do it, but I just ran around the court. It was a lot of fun, though. I'm telling you, fans, you have got to go next year to the Fan Fest. It is so much fun. The dunk contest, as Paris Lawson talked about, the three-point shooting contest as well. And it was just a big family night, a lot of fun. And there was a lot of blue and sunset colors out there last night on that court as well. That court was painted by local artists, by the way, which was made it even more special. They were also in attendance.
I heard that the judges were very liberal with the 10s on the dunks.
No,
very liberal.
We were pretty hard. We gave out a 6 one time.
Oh.
I mean, you asked Paris, we were both, all over it. Spacing gets a nice steal and a dunk.
A little glimpse into what we saw from Cason Wallace in his 1 year at Kentucky. Boy, he was a defensive stalwart and plays with a lot of energy. Part of the reason why he was drafted number 10 back in 2023.
And what a way to get your first 2 points of your career in preseason with a steal and a dunk.
just embodies his game up to this point. And Mark Daigneault said that he plays with a certain temperament, and he is emotionally steady, a connector on the offensive end, but really, he's got a high defensive IQ.
Absolutely. You can see it right there, folks. Not only steal it, but just going down and dunking the basketball with a lot of pressure on him.
And the lob to Holmgren. How about that connection? Jalen Williams set it up perfectly.
Well, you know what I'm going to say? It's time, folks. That was nasty. It looked like somebody dropped him down out of the ceiling. You know, he's got that great length where he can outlast you up in the air. And that's what he did to Zach Collins. Just went right over the top.
Oh, nice spin move. Josh Giddey got right around Champagny. Beautiful move. Back-to-back plays by Oklahoma City on the offensive end. And that lob to Holmgren, Michael, that adds a different element to this Thunder offense that hasn't been there. That vertical spacing where he can just throw the ball up into an area and he's going to go up and get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can throw a bad pass like you do to me all the time, and it just goes out of bounds. Chet could go get that ball. How about this, man? Because the Thunder right now are just punishing the rim. And right now the Spurs are kind of looking at the officials, trying to figure out why the Thunder get in that painted area.
Collins rejected inside. Giddey finds an open man. Dort checks the tape, fires up the three. And the follow once again. It's Jalen Williams back-to-back.
Now, we talked about the fan fest last night. There was a lot of dunking going on. There's a lot of dunking going on right now for the Thunder with just over 2 minutes remaining in this first half of basketball.
2 minutes.
There's another San Antonio turnover. Thunder back the other way. And Dort able to convert the fast break.
What an incredible run the Thunder are on right now, and it's being spearheaded by their defense.
Trailed big, cut it down to 6. Closing out this second quarter with a spark. As Giddey pressures up on Osman. The lowered shoulder from Collins. Oh, you thought it was going to go the other way, but it's a block on Dort. Couple plays ago, that is the Holmgren alley-oop from Jalen Williams, and then Williams saying, I got a little bit of that in my bag.
Took a little contact at the end there, no problem. Just picking up where he left off last year, folks, being selected first team all-rookie. J-Dub on that last play. Man, I thought that was a good charge taken by Lou Dort on that play. The officials are stingy with giving up that offensive foul tonight. Isaiah Joe took one. I thought Chet did a good job of taking one on 웸반야마 when he took the shot to the mouth. Just stingy with it right now.
There were 15,000 fans in this building that thought Brent Barnaky was going to signal for an offensive foul, and it looked like he was going to up until the very last minute. You thought, boy, is he?
Yeah, he kind of like didn't put in the air in that whistle for the Thunder, did he?
And then he gave the block signal.
Yeah.
Everybody was stunned. Giddey off balance, turn around as 웸반야ma is back into the game. Boy, we have seen some plays in this one. Some high-level plays. Collins, once again, trying to get it up over Holmgren. Might have affected the shot. That'll be an easy foul on Jones. A little contact after the play. And then Holmgren says, he's good. Wave it off.
Yeah.
Nothing malicious. The contact between him and 웸반야ma on the backside of the play.
I'm trying to figure out, man, wow, what was 웸반야ma doing on that play? The whistle was blown out front. Secondary foul there. That could have been a pretty dangerous play right there as he went across the body of Chet on that play. I mean, the play was dead at that point. As Chet is having a terrific first half of basketball right now. Already with 20 points here on 7 of 10 shooting. He's gone to the free throw line for free throws 6 and 7, along with 9 rebounds. 1 rebound away from a double-double.
Well, the 2 7-footers were playing in their first NBA game have shown up in the first half. 웸반야마's got 18, Holmgren's got 21. As you said, Michael, he's a rebound away from a double-double. Collins, another three from the outside. You got to close out on Collins. He's one of those stretch big men. Under a minute to go here in this first half. It has been an entertaining first half, to say the least. San Antonio built up a 19-point lead. Thunder coming back, and that left-handed layup by Giddey doesn't drop in.
A terrific move by Giddey. Didn't get the bucket, but did a good job of moving that ball away from Victor on that play.
And Wallace picks up the foul, and
foul on number 22, Jason Wallace. That's his second.
He will learn that that's not what you want to do when you're in the penalty and you're playing defense on the last possession of a quarter or a half, and it puts the opposing team at the free throw line. That is one of those learning moments for a rookie.
And you know, and it's a good learning moment, because this is what preseason game 1 of 5 for the Thunder, as they will head out later this week for games in Montreal, Canada, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Montreal on Thursday night, Charlotte next Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon, if you will.
Well, we got a little preseason road trip coming up. Starts north of the border, the hometown of Lou Dort. J-Dub checks the clock. He's been matched up on 웸반야ma on both ends of the floor. Wants to step back shot. J-Dub buries it from the outside. 2 seconds left. Jones, it was on target but short. How about these two teams? 155 first half points. Art Dagnall talked about the defensive principles. We might be talking about that at halftime, but how about all that offense? Here's what's coming up at halftime. First half stats and highlights with Nick and Paris. We'll go behind the scenes at Media Day, and of course, take a look at the preseason, the remaining preseason schedule, as well as what's coming up in October and November of the regular season. That's all coming up at halftime. For the first half, we'll see what's in store for the second half. Big numbers. City inside Paycom Center for the start of the third quarter. Thunder trailing by 7 with Michael Cage. I'm Chris Fisher, preseason game number 1. They often say, Michael, that the offense is always ahead of the defense. It certainly was in that first half. Obviously, the two headliners, Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, they had a big part of that offense.
Well, it was a tale of 2 quarters. I like the fact that the Thunder tightened it up defensively in that second quarter, where they scored 44 points, but they forced a lot of turnovers. They got 16 turnovers from the Spurs.
All right, so a lot of offense, 155 points. Let's check in with Paris.
Yeah, guys, I was able to catch up with Thunder assistant coach Dave Bliss at halftime, and I talked to him about what he wants to see on the defensive end. He said in that first half there was a lot of energy, but not a ton of attention to detail. So in the second half, he really wants to see those things sharpened up, not fouling on three-point shooters and containing the ball a little bit more. But he was really encouraged by the pace of the game and how guys have really been hunting opportunities in the paint and also finding guys for kickouts as well. So that was a really encouraging sign in that first half, guys.
All right, thank you, Paris. How about Davis Bertans hunting that three-point shot? Personnel changes for OKC to open up quarter number 3 as Kenrich Williams contesting that Wembanyama shot. And so you've got Ousmane Dieng, Kenrich Williams, Trey Mann, Cason Wallace, and Bertans, the former San Antonio Spurs, got back-to-back threes to open up this third quarter, prompting Greg Popovich to call a timeout. Not yet a minute into this second half.
And that was the story in the second quarter for the Thunder. The Thunder shot 52% from downtown in the first half, picking it up here again in this third quarter.
Quickest triggers in the NBA belongs to that man, Davis Bertans, a newly acquired Oklahoma City Thunder, and back-to-back threes here to open up this third quarter. He got his career going with San Antonio. And Michael, now he's the elder statesman on this Thunder team. He's 30 years old. He's the oldest player on the roster.
Yeah, at 30. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Now, he's done a good job, too, of following in what the Thunder did in the first half. Spacing the floor. The Thunder are 9 of 15 from downtown. How about this? Shooting 60% right now.
All right, let's check in with Nick.
Well, guys, it's no surprise that Greg Popovich called a timeout after a Bertans three. Those two very familiar with one another. Obviously, Davis played for the Spurs a few years ago, and Popovich said before the game, Davis knows what he does best, and he just does it. He's a great teammate, and guys, Davis, a very confident guy. I really enjoyed talking to him on Media Day. He certainly knows what a threat he is from behind the arc, and I think Thunder fans are going to really like what they see from him this season.
Yeah, he was part of that draft day trade with the Dallas Mavericks. Cason Wallace, of course, going to Oklahoma City with Bertans. And so Bertans played 3 years with the Spurs, and well, he knows his game as well as anybody, knows to hunt shots behind the three-point line. And he is an outstanding sharpshooter as Collins, second chance.
And how about the Thunder right now, shooting a very respectable 60% from downtown, as we mentioned moments ago, but it pulled up to 50% for the game. Those are two very strong numbers. They have the Thunder scratching at the door here.
There's number three for Bertans. Once again, showing that stroke.
Right now the Spurs have left him, just giving him. Now, it's been okay defense by the Spurs. He's just one of those guys, he just doesn't need a whole lot to make it happen.
There's a San Antonio turnover. Kenrich hits it up to Jang, and Jang able to slip in for the jam.
How about that play once again repeating itself for the Thunder? This time Kenny Hustle making it happen. You know, Paris and Nick talked about at halftime, you know, just really kind of tapping into your defensive identity. Well, that's one of those plays you're talking about. You're tapping into your defensive identity.
No surprise that Kenrich Williams right in the middle of the mix as Trey Mann with the left hand was making his move, gets fouled, and so the Thunder, after trailing by as many as 19 points in the game, as Kenrich pickpocketing 웸반야ma, Kenrich knows his game. And the Thunder have come alive from the outside with a three-point shot and come back to tie it at 85.
And that's like a hallmark of his tenure here in Oklahoma City, those type of plays. Hard-nosed, not afraid of the contact, and not afraid to get those knee burns, you know, because there was one thing, he poked the ball away from Victor, but he also had to get on the floor to go get it. And I always say that loose change on the floor, folks, you got to pick it up.
One of our more enjoyable conversations, Michael, at Media Day was with Kenrich Williams. He's so thoughtful. One of the reasons why he's so respected on this Thunder roster, but you know, he said it took him a couple of years to really settle in as an NBA player. Remember, he had to work for everything, work for that roster spot with the New Orleans Pelicans. It took those 2 years to really figure out what kind of NBA player he wanted to be and what kind of role he was going to have in the league and how he was going to stay in the league. And by year 3, when he came to Oklahoma City, he said he really felt at home, and he has been at home here, now going into year number 4 with the Thunder.
He's one of those type of guys that what we call him we always like to refer to him as a Swiss Army knife. You can just play him at any position. That was a tough shot that time by Trey Mann on the other end to get it over the outstretched arms of Victor 웸반야ma. Take a look at this, folks. And Victor's coming at it. He's going after it. 7 foot, 5 and something.
Their eyes light up when they think about having a block opportunity.
That's a tough shot. Thunder taking the lead. It's only been 3 lead changes in the entire ball game. Thunder just created that third one moments ago.
Champagny from the outside. 웸반야ma the rebound, just towering over everybody. Boy, he has got so much size.
It's like when you play against me around the paint, there's nothing you can do about it. Just get down inside. I'm just going to tell you, get down the floor, Fish. Just get down the floor.
Oh, that's 3, number 4 for Bertans. He is stroking it, torching the nets from the outside.
I tell you, he is just stuck on automatic. And because the Thunder has players that can make passes off the dribble, what are you going to do? You got to pick your poison. You're going to cut off the dribble, give up that sweet spot in the paint. Or you're going to make this happen right here. Nice little handoff. They call it a DHO, a dribble handoff, folks. Still works.
4 threes in less than 4 minutes. He spent the last 2 years with the Dallas Mavericks. Short stint also with the Washington Wizards.
Thunder with 92 points, just under 8 minutes to go here in the third quarter, folks.
Kenrich on the step back.
Now that offense is heated up already with 18 points here. And just in the first 4.5 minutes, the Thunder had 44 points in the third quarter. Excuse me, in the second quarter.
Already 18 here in the third. Trey Jones, no on the 3. Thunder have a 5-on-4. Collins Not really showing much interest to get back on the play. Bertan's way behind the three-point line.
You got to give him, that's a heat check there, man. That guy's on fire right now.
You saying he earned the green light on that one?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's just a heat check.
And he's calling for it again, but Wallace took his eyes off the basketball, and Bertans, he was open as he was streaking up the sideline right in front of Greg Popovich. You know, when guys can shoot like that, and especially him, when he's got such a quick release and he knows where he wants to get to on the floor, it's just a display.
Yeah. And he's one of those guys, too. You can't focus on him too much because there's 4 other players on the floor for the Spurs. I mean, for the Thunder in this case. Close your eyes for a minute. You know, that's all it takes for him to knock down a shot.
And there's going to be a loose ball foul on the deck between Bertans and Collins.
That's a weak call. You can't give him that because Collins kind of sold it a little bit, like he was pushed in the back, and Bertans is looking up like, what do you mean? This has been happening all game. Don't call it now.
That's an old Michael Cage move.
I mean,
look at him. Look at him.
He's
they clamped.
Backwards.
He clamped.
Oh.
That's how you got all those rebounds back in the day, clamping like that.
Well, yeah.
I learned that from you, by the way. That's a Michael Cage term.
That was back then, but you can't do that now.
Man, nice move by Collins. Up and under.
Yeah. So nice. Kiki Vandeweghe move goes all the way back to the Pete Newell days. Remember Pete Newell, coach at Cal?
Cal, absolutely.
Won their only national championship. But he also taught that move, that up and under. I was one of his students.
Can he go back and coach Cal? They are struggling.
Yeah, they are. But they got that title, though. They can say they were national champions. Oh, man. How about that? Nice little stop and go there action.
That's called shedding the defender. As Vassell way off on the three, not even close.
This was good timeout by Mark Davenport. Both teams have been running back and forth here, folks. It is rocking and rolling in Paycom Center, downtown Oklahoma City. Thunder up by 1 here.
Download the official Thunder app, powered by OU Health. It's all access, all the time. Nick Gallo ran over the preseason schedule for you at halftime. Let's take a look at the regular season. There's one with the Bison. He's going to be ready for the regular season. October's got a couple of games. Regular season starts on the road, Michael, in Chicago. Little road trip, Chicago and Cleveland, before the Thunder have their home opener on Sunday against the Denver Nuggets at 2:30. And then, of course, November, some West Coast road games in Golden State and Sacramento. And you see the NBA in-season tournament is going to be getting underway. Those great highlighted games. What stands out?
Well, you know, obviously the start. You know, you're in Chicago with the Bulls. That's a very talented team looking to turn it around from a season ago. And so is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, you know, Donovan Mitchell's a terrific player. But that's always my favorite on the 29th of this month, Rose. That's the home opener against the NBA defending champions, Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets got it done over the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals.
And no one saw that coming. No one saw that. I mean, this time last year,
nobody wanted to believe it, that's for sure. The Denver Nuggets were the best team in the NBA, particularly the best team in the Western Conference. They earned that 1 seed. Nice little action there between Ousmane Dieng and Jalen Williams. But nobody wanted to believe it because the Nuggets hadn't been deep in the postseason. No. But when they got Jamal Murray healthy, and obviously Nikola Jokic doing what he's been doing over the course of the last couple of years, Denver became formidable.
Yeah. And it's also about playing your best basketball at the right time. They stayed healthy. You know, that's a big key in the playoffs as well. They're staying healthy and peaking at the right time.
Trey Mann with the turnover as Vassell trying to go 1-on-2, gliding away, and he's going to get the whistle and the foul. This San Antonio team, Michael, it was the worst, it was the second worst offense in the NBA a season ago. Just doing a little research on the Spurs. Their offensive rating was 110.2. That was good for 29th in the NBA. If it was 2006, it would have been #1 in the NBA. Do you remember who had the #1 offensive rating? You may or may not, but if you're, there was a particular offense during that time that obviously got a lot of notoriety, and it was the #1 offense with the same offensive rating that San Antonio had last year. It was #1 in 2006. Care to guess?
You want me to take a guess?
Yeah.
Oh, man. If I had to take a guess, I would say Phoenix Suns.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing.
You got it right.
Okay.
Phoenix Sun had the #1 offensive rating in 2006 at the exact same rating as San Antonio a season ago. That's how far the NBA has come, particularly on the offensive end. Tre Mann, can he make his move? That's a move we've seen from him. That little step back jumper as he completely got rid of McDermott for the open shot. Oh, what a block. Kenrich Williams came over to deny the jam from Branham. Now he gives it up to Jalen Williams. Williams, little ball fake, dumps it off. Ousmane Dieng in the block inside. Bassi stepping up. Boy, some impressive defensive plays. It was all offense in the first half. But how about these two blocks on the...
That's a nice block. Man, that is a real nice block. He blocked that like he was 7'5". And Kim's what, 6'5"?
6'7".
6'7". Just beautiful timing, and he came over from the weak side. That's hard to do when a guy's already, you know, kind of playing downhill on you.
Well, already we have seen the defense crank it up a notch here in the second half compared to what we saw in the first half. 13 foul committed by OKC.
Well, I'll reference you back to Nick and Paris at halftime. They talked about tapping into your defensive identity. And that's what the Thunder have done here in this third quarter. Tapped into the defensive identity, and it's actually sparked the offense as well, too. Not to say the offense was lacking, because they put up 44 points in that second quarter alone.
So, Michael, I'm sure I've asked you this probably every preseason at some point. But we'll get right to it here as McDermott put a flat on that three. Why is defense always behind offense early in the season?
Well, because I just think the defenses are so complicated now. You know, it's a lot of, everybody is favoring offense. Everybody's geared towards scoring the basketball on a night-to-night basis. You know, for a long time there, the defense, I thought the rules didn't really help defense a lot because of, you know, well, we got the flop rule now. That's taking it away. You know, you're not getting, you know, the offense is not having its free run. But to get back to your question, that's always historically been an issue, especially with young teams. Always learning defense lags behind the offense because we've all know we can score the basketball, but can you play defense and guard these high-scoring offenses and these high-scoring individuals?
Well, that was the priority for Mark Daigneault coming into this game. And the things that they've really been working on is Tre Mann cocked and loaded for the jam, but couldn't quite finish. Kenrich on the three, no good. Boy, we talked to Tre Mann about his hops. He said, don't sleep on them. They are in there, and he can get it done.
Yeah, that's what you want. Ousmane putting the ball on the floor. And how about the Thunder getting out in transition? And this is another part of not allowing the Spurs to get those second chance opportunities. You saw Zach Collins. He got a few while he was in the ball game. But getting those, everybody collectively rebounding the basketball and then getting out in transition has led to a lot of free throws for the Thunder since the start of this ball game.
Lock in your spot for Thunder Youth Basketball's Fall Break Camps, presented by Simple Modern. All campers will receive a ticket to a 23-24 Thunder home game, Thunder basketball, t-shirt, and a Simple Modern water bottle. Register now at OKCThunder.com/fall camps.
And these are free throws 29 and 30 for the Thunder now. Now the Spurs can't really say, hey man, wait a minute now. Well, how come we're not getting to the free throw line? The Spurs have 21 attempts. So a lot of free throw attempts. What's happened is that the Thunder have not put the Spurs on that free throw line so easily here in this second half.
Wiggins knew it was going to be short, follows the shot, went in. Keeping the possession alive outside, Isaiah Joe. That's one of those shots you're so used to going down because it was so consistent from the outside last year. And this game has gotten close. Now Osman no good.
Unselfish basketball too by the Thunder. They're getting that second and third pass in.
Wiggins took a hard bump, easy call. Official on the baseline, Osman disputing it, and not much reason to dispute it. He hit Wiggins midair.
Well, that's another play where the Thunder in transition, the Spurs are not able to load up their defense. So it's basically, you know, one-on-one basketball in transition, which is what you want. And they're getting to that free throw line. Here's free throws 31 and 32 coming up. And a lot of these fouls are really unquestionable fouls.
Well, the Thunder very aggressive, which is consistent with what they did all of last season, Michael, in attacking the rim, points in the paint. They were so good and so consistent. Obviously, SGA not playing tonight, getting the night off. He was a big part of that, but it's also very much part of this Thunder identity on the offensive end. They want to get the ball inside.
And you're playing a lot of people, so, you know, everybody has to try to get into sync real quickly. And a lot of the guys on the floor right now didn't play in the first half, mainly Bertans. He's come in and just lit it up. You also look at, you know, guys, Wiggins come off the bench fresh, and that's tough to do when you didn't play in the first half. Just those are intangibles of the game that you have to learn in being a professional athlete. Whether you play in the first half or not, you know, play the game on ready.
One thing that we hear Mark Daigneault say about the preseason is just there is so much to evaluate. There's so much that you're looking at. Nice pass, and the recovery from Osman. It looked like Isaiah Joe was about to throw that one down. That beautiful pass from Jalen Williams. You hear all the teammates talk about him as an underrated passer. Boy, he slipped that one in there nicely.
Yeah, and how about Osman just challenging that shot at the rim.
Isaiah Joe at the line.
And these type of plays, this is why the Thunder are at the free throw line for 33 and 34. I mean, they're making the Spurs work. They're moving the basketball. The unselfishness is really on display. I mean, it's not like it's just one guy shooting free throws. Everybody's getting to that free throw line.
And for more on Jay Will, let's check in with Nick.
Well, guys, we see the passing from the top of the key from Jalen Williams. Obviously, one of the things that he can do as a five-man in this unit right now. But I talked to him before the season about the 4, the 5, you know, exactly where he'll play on the floor. And he said what a lot of guys on this team say. I'm a basketball player. It doesn't really matter where coach decides to put me. I'm going to go out and do what I need to do for this team. That's the value of having such versatility on this squad. Those guys can be put in various positions, and it becomes unpredictable what they'll be able to do.
Well, he earned more and more playing time as the season went on because of the way that he played on both ends of the floor. Consistent shooter, shot over 40%. Obviously, the defense and the draw on the charges. He wasn't even a regular until the end of December. Osman off balance, had nowhere to go, completely missed the layup.
Yeah, see, this is what leading to those transition buckets for the Thunder. And they're getting wide open, good looks.
Wiggins, no good. Jay Will able to back tap it out for a fresh 14. Kenrich lost it, kept it alive, and Robinson Earl with the clear path right to the rim.
Yeah, there was a concentration on that play about the Thunder, realizing that Kenrich was in a little bit of trouble. He was falling down, and a nice cut by JRE.
JRE, who made his first appearance in the game here late in the third quarter, and we get our usual step out of bounds on the sideline.
How about this? Now, JRE could just be standing there. So look, I'm going to get back on defense. Look like this might be a turnover. He cuts to the basket. That's a high IQ play.
Well, and how about Kenrich able to find him too?
Yeah. As he was falling. Those two guys have played together, folks, for a couple of seasons.
Thunder put up 28 points here in the third. On plus 14, Isaiah Joe, deep 2 on the step back, and it dances on the rim and finally goes in.
That's just a nice touch. Silky smooth. Had a nice little rhythm as it touched the rim. They call that English, folks. I'm not talking about English leather. I'm talking about English as the spin on the ball hitting the rim.
It's called a shooter's touch.
Okay, for lack of a better word. You modern guys, go ahead.
Branham. That 3 is good to beat the shot clock.
Good play by the Spurs. They needed a play like that to kind of get them back in rhythm.
Isaiah Joe, that'll count if it goes. That'll do it for quarter number 3. The Thunder defense shows up in the third quarter, limiting San Antonio to just 17 points. Quite the contrast from the first half, fourth quarter. Coming up next. Back in the seal on the Thunder season, and it has been entertaining with the San Antonio Spurs preseason game number 1 as we go to the fourth quarter. Thunder trailed, Michael, by as many as 19 points, but they took the lead in the third. Chet Holmgren, of course, making his Thunder debut, his NBA professional debut. He was excellent with those 21 points, 9 rebounds, battling with another 7-footer, Victor 웸반야ma, a couple of high draft picks. Of course, 웸반ya마 taken first overall in June, and boy, did those two deliver here tonight.
Well, you know, and they both stepped up within the rhythm of their team. You didn't see, you know, Victor or Chet kind of forcing shots. They kind of got them in rhythm, and it kept them in rhythm as their teammates found them. Both were knocking down threes and getting to the basket.
So we go to the fourth quarter. Lindy Waters getting run for the first time, joining Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, Cason Wallace, Jalen Williams.
Keep in mind, this is a group that's on the floor mostly that didn't even play in the first half, with the exception of Cason Wallace. Lindy Waters, fresh in the ball game. JRE just got in at the bottom part of the third quarter.
Lindy Waters, one of 3 Thunder two-way players. 3 two-way players, Mike. We got Waters, Olivier Sarr, and Keontae Johnson. Those are the 3 two-way players for Oklahoma City coming into the season. Used to be just 2 two-way players. The NBA expanded that.
And I think that's really a good gesture, too, because, you know, the players and teams are so deep. You want to keep them in rhythm. And some of the guys, you know, you may not keep them on that roster all the time. You can throw them down to the G League. And you need them because, you know, over the course of a full NBA season, you're going to have guys go down as Tre Mann makes another acrobatic Tre Mann move, this time with a nice finish.
Really hard to explain just how difficult that is, Michael, when you're going with that much speed.
Yeah.
And trying to finish at the rim and to have the body control. And look at the speed. He turns it on right there as he turned the corner.
What are you saying? I can't do that? You don't think I can do something like that?
I was just expecting a simple dunk in the dunk contest yesterday, and we got nothing.
I got to show you the film, man. You won't believe it. At the Fan Fest last night. Not
Let's
very far from here. You won't believe what I did, man. It's a secret between me and Paris Lawson.
It's like jumping off the trampoline.
She promised me she would never tell it. And that's good enough for me.
Well, you can't tell anybody something you didn't see.
No, that's right. That's right.
As San Antonio trying to keep the possession alive, throws it out of bounds, back-to-back turnovers by the Spurs.
Keontae Johnson will check in. Just under 300 miles from here, where he played his college basketball at Kansas State.
Well, this has got to be a big moment for him, Michael. Obviously getting to this point, getting the opportunity to be drafted in the NBA.
It's a great feeling. I mean, you know, and we all have pathways to the NBA. Some of us are drafted, some of us are undrafted. And, you know, like today, players come in on 2-way contracts and eventually get, you know, put on a permanent contract, as once again, Tre Mann using the other side of the basketball and the other hand with the finish at the rim.
Another crafty finish by him. He went the right hand on the reverse. That time switched it up with the left. He's got some moves in there, not just an outside shooter, as Wesley has knocked down a couple of mid-range shots over the course of the game. And you like to see Tre Mann playing with confidence, Michael, because you know he's got a very unique skill set. Going into year number 3, he came into last year with a lot of confidence, had that great offseason. It didn't really translate over the course of the regular season. He really struggled at times, got out of the rotation. And so you know what he's capable of. You just want to see him go out and do it.
Well, and that's why, you know, when you're in the infancy stages of your career, you never hang your head down, because every mistake you make, it's a learning curve, you know. And once again, the Spurs are turning that ball over here in this second half. That's been a good spot for the Thunder to open up a cut on. They have not let go of it as they've regained the lead. It's only been 3 lead changes all ball game. As Waters will get to the bucket. Thunder starting to get in that inside area after knocking down All those threes at such a high percentage.
You're right, Michael. A lot of drives at the rim. Successful drives at the rim. Kalashvili off on the three. Played with San Antonio last year. With 4 minutes gone by here in this fourth quarter. Very entertaining preseason game number one. And there's Johnson trying to earn his first NBA points. Dante Johnson started his career at Florida. That's when he suffered the athlete's heart incident. Battled his way. Finally got clearance to play at Kansas State. Got drafted in the second round. Another one of those two-way players for the Thunder is Cason Wallace. Quickly up the floor.
Man, this is how the Thunder want to play. You see that spacing, you're moving the ball. And it's just, you can't guard that because you got them discombobulated in transition and you smartly just pick out the corners of where you want to stay at. And if you get caught watching that paint dry, it's going to cost you right now for the Thunder with the way they're knocking down the three.
Yeah, three-point shot. Big part of this second half got started with Bertans. Right at the onset of the third quarter, Devontae Graham just trying to draw a foul. Didn't happen. Wesley open. I don't know if he beat the shot clock. That might be a violation. And it is. 24-second violation.
Now, was that close to being a flopping? Is that a flop? Help me here, partner. We'll talk about that maybe when we come out of this timeout, folks. There's a little break in the action. Thunder with their largest lead of the night. It's at double digits. About 7 minutes.
A ton of guys get action tonight, including a rookie like Keontae Johnson. Yesterday in practice, Mark Daigneault talked about how leadership is accessible to everybody on this team, including rookies like Keontae.
We always say the leader's the person doing the right thing, so we try to make leadership accessible to everyone. Keontae and Cason are great examples of that. They've led with the way that they've approached camp. But the guys that have been around, they know what we're doing, and I think they believe in it to some degree too, or to a large extent, and that's helpful. You know, so it's not necessarily. Sometimes it's like they can finish your sentences, but are they really committed to what it is? But I think they've seen that this stuff works environmentally, especially the way that we approach it every single day, and I think they're committed to that, and it's very powerful when the players are carrying that. That's really what you're after.
Guys, another quality that Mark Daigneault talked about with the rookies and any new players coming in is that they're willing to ask questions, and that shows a sign of humility, that they understand that they don't know what they don't know, and a lot of times guys might come in and try to act like they know more than they do, and so guys that are asking the right questions, asking good questions, being willing to humble themselves to the team and to the coaching staff, that goes a long way in OKC to help them learn to grow and develop the way that this team wants them to.
All right, thank you, Nick. And Ousmane Dieng, boy, he had major ambitions on that drive. Looked like he was ready to cock it back. But just to follow up Nick's point, Michael, about these young players coming in, they've got some guys that they can look up to now because there's enough continuity. There's enough guys in this Thunder team that have a couple of years under their belt. They know what Mark Daigneault and the Thunder are trying to instill in them. And it makes it easier for them because they can get on board quicker.
Well, and I thought they showed a lot of that last year, you know, patience and perseverance over the course of an 82-game schedule. That's something that doesn't necessarily, you know, coincide with a young team. And they showed that down the stretch. Played some really solid basketball. You know, different guys stepping up and leading at different times of the ball game. And the season, as the Thunder continue to knock down the threes, this time Ousmane Dieng. There again, there's that spacing on the floor, that ball movement, and getting the right pass. That pass is going to the right guy on that drive to the bucket or that swing pass.
Good to see Ousmane Dieng healthy after that wrist injury. Really kind of set him back last year. There's Graham from the outside. Jack White on the floor, trying to contest that shot from Barlow. As White making his Thunder debut. He won a ring with the Denver Nuggets a season ago, a two-way player. Been a part of some very successful basketball programs, going back to his college days at Duke, Australian-born player. Played with Josh Giddey for the Australian national team over the summer. So 6'7". He's got some time in the league, 17 games
And how
with
about
the
that?
Nuggets last year.
Yeah, that you mentioned. How about that? Your rookie year, you win an NBA championship. Man, you realize how hard it is to win an NBA championship, period, let alone win one in your rookie season. And you talk about the experience he learned from that journey in Denver.
Well, he also won a title in the NBL. And a contest as the Thunder just eat up Barlow as Johnson using the physicality. And it's going to be Thunder basketball with 16 seconds on the timer.
Yes. A lot of heavy fouls going on right now. Officials letting them play, and I like that. Not that I'm saying this is 90s basketball. I'm just saying I like it when they let the game flow a little bit on both ends.
And the more physicality, the better.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just good. Oh, how about this? Come on. I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. That's nasty.
That's the first one of the year.
I mean, come on. That is beautiful, man. He's 6'10". And, you know, he's still growing into his body.
He's still just 19 years old, which is just so interesting about Jang. And obviously, he was young last year and coming over, making the transition from France. Yeah. And you see the fluidity and the ball handling, and then the finish like that, and you realize why he was a high lottery pick.
You talk, like I said, you're talking about a guy that's 6'10", man. He's you know, he's not 6'1", because y'all make it look easy when y'all do that. But when a guy like that makes a move off the dribble and can get around the defense and make a play like that and finish, and you know what, too, man, it looked pretty. It didn't look pretty.
It did.
It looked pretty.
Capital P. Thing had a little extra spice to it. Johnson using the screen from another two-way player in Olivier Sarr. As we come up on the final minutes here of preseason game number 1 in downtown Oklahoma City, back at Paycom Center, the home of the Thunder. Off-season over, summer is over, back to work, back to business. As that three drops in for Rice. Timeout, Oklahoma City. Timeout, Mark Daigneault. As we come up on the final minutes, we'll have the close and the finish for you when we come back. The anticipation coming into this game, obviously you were at FanFest last night, but it's been almost 6 months since we saw this Thunder team all the way back on April 14th, that play-in game against Minnesota. Kind of left you wanting a little bit more, but it just feels good to be back in the building. It feels good to be calling Thunder basketball.
Well, absolutely. You know, and, you know, watching these guys develop and grow right before your eyes. I mean, the overlapping drafts. I mean, this is what, 16th year of Thunder basketball. A lot has happened. This is kind of like the pivot year where the Thunder really, you know, starting to, I guess, reap the rewards, you know, of all the fruits and hard labor they put in. You look at that. I mean, that's that overlapping drafts classes right there. Two have played in Thunder uniforms prior to tonight. 3 now have played in a Thunder uniform. And I'm going to, those 2 guys are Cason Wallace and Johnson, who are out there on the floor with the basketball right now.
Well, you talk, Michael, about the draft classes that are starting to get more and more experience, but you look at this Thunder roster, and the floor of this Thunder roster is significantly higher than it was a couple of years ago. This is a deep team. It is a talented team. There's no wasted roster spots. There's no wasted minutes, and it has been fun to see this team grow, and they've got a lot more growing to do because they are still so young.
Well, what, 2 or 3 seasons ago, I think a lot of questions were asked about this roster, about, you know, what's the style of play that they have, you know, what's their identity? And I think we're starting to see that a little bit. Is it complete? No. You know, it's a marathon and not a sprint. And that man right there has been at the forefront of that development. He's done an excellent job. I mean, last year was a lot of fun. I think the guys got a lot of experience out of that year. But that year's over. You're starting from scratch all over again now. And that's where you have to pick it up and put in that work and continue, you know, to develop that chemistry.
It's interesting because you hear Mark Daigneault, he'll reference, you know, kind of those lean years, 2020, or I should say 2021, 2022. some of those early building years that didn't necessarily result in a lot of victories, but was still laying some of those early pieces of the foundation in terms of identity. And he doesn't necessarily call them goals, but he calls them standards of playing together, competing together, and playing with efficiency that are now really starting to show up.
You know, the poise and patience of the team last year was something that was really unique because of their youth. You're talking about back-to-back years where you're one of the youngest teams in the association. And there's a lot that could go wrong that didn't.
Well, the Thunder had a double-digit lead, as much as 13. San Antonio trimmed it down to 6 as that drive by 웸반야마 couldn't quite finish it off. Devontae Graham, he's an NBA veteran. Got it inside, and that's a finish. And it's Bediako cutting that Thunder lead down to 4 with under 2 minutes to go.
And a nice, strong move. Didn't walk with the basketball.
And Jang's 3, a little bit off. Bediako the rebound, and San Antonio making a late run here. Devontae Graham, and he's going to get the bounce. Hops off the front of the rim, and it's a 1-point game. All of a sudden, this game would seem to be in control and command from Oklahoma City. Turned into a very slim 1-point lead, and that's going to be a Thunder turnover. It's going the other way as Jack White was out of bounds on the baseline. So we have seen a lot of different personalities in this game. Going back to the early offense in the first half, the Thunder run in the third quarter. Now San Antonio making a push here in the fourth.
Well, and these 5 guys that are in the game right now, you know, they weren't even in the game at all in the first half of basketball. And this is, you know, this is another learning curve. This is a great opportunity for these guys who are on the floor right now, just a minute ago, with the basketball up 1.
Good chance for this group to close out the game. Waters, mid-range shot, so smooth.
You think about, you've been in practice for a week, you know, playing against each other. And this is a great opportunity to work on those intangibles.
The Spurs were looking for the 3-point shot. The Thunder did a great job to close it out, and then that block out of bounds.
Yeah. How about this, man? He made sure he did not get that shot off. Contact secondary.
So 9 seconds on the Spurs shot clock. Barlow and Bediako with the deuce on the dunk.
Yeah, that's what's been impressive about this group that's on the floor now. They haven't played together. This is their first time ever playing together against another team. They're somewhat holding their own right now.
So 1-point lead with the basketball. Waters can't connect. And the Spurs will have a chance to win it here on the final possession of regulation. Devontae Graham back inside. Bediako swallowed up and blocked by Sar, trying to save it from going out of bounds. But it's going to be San Antonio basketball with 3.1 seconds.
Way to recover. And that's a great job by Sar. He was a show guy on that high pick and roll. Got back to block his man who was rolling to the basket.
Pretty good job not fouling. Graham catches, launches, the 3, no good. The rebound to Jang, and the Thunder pull it out. And the Thunder pull this one out in entertaining fashion. Rightfully so, in what was a highly entertaining game from the opening tip. A lot of energy in the building, a lot of buzz. Chet Holmgren did his thing as he played his part with 21 points, and it's the Thunder with a 122-121 victory over San Antonio here in preseason game number 1.
You know, the preseason is never really about winning and losing as much as it is about the style of play. The Thunder played their style of play. They tightened up the wrenches, the screws and bolts, for lack of a better word, folks, in the second half, and just didn't allow the Spurs to get those easy buckets while they got out in the transition, disrupted the Spurs offense, and eventually controlled the scoreboard.
Well, as San Antonio was creeping closer and closer, the Thunder got it done. And let's send it over to Nick, who is standing by with J-Dub and Chet Holmgren.
Thanks so much, Chris. Chet, you helped get this party started tonight, and you were on your feet as your teammates finished it. What was going through your mind at the buzzer?
Excitement. You know, it's the beginning of a long season, but we're trying to stay in the moment and really improve night in and night out and work on what we got to work on. So, you know, I'm excited. We got a great group of guys, you know, and we're all just trying to gel together.
Dub, what'd you see from him in his debut here in this arena?
It didn't look like he missed a step. For somebody that had to sit out of here, he looked really good. Was able to facilitate, assert himself early. Proud of him. So looking forward to kind of getting back in the lab and good season ahead.
Yeah, what do you think about the offense and the way that you guys flowed together in that first half in particular, and then the defense stepped up in the second?
Yeah, we were a little stagnant. Obviously, that's going to happen. Everybody kind of had nerves, but I thought we started to regroup. Hung our hat defensively, especially the last 4 minutes, kind of set the tone for the second half, and I think I just kind of pulled it together. But, you know, obviously we still got a lot to gel with, so going to learn from every preseason game.
Yeah, Chet, so much uncertainty still for you all, for the opponent tonight. What did you think of the way that you just handled it all in this first game here?
Yeah, I feel like I did a good job. You know, I can always improve with any aspect of my game, and you know, credit to my teammates and the coaching staff, front office, and you know, the Oklahoma City fans for coming out to support. You know, they all played a big part tonight, and you know, they're helping me get better. You know, so shout out Oklahoma, man.
Great stuff, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Nick. And it might just be preseason game number 1 for the Thunder, but that's a game Chet Holmgren is certainly going to remember. It's a game that he's been looking forward to, obviously going back to the day that the Thunder drafted him all the way back in 2022. And you said the word, Michael, earlier in the game, marathon. This is one step in what is going to be such a long season. It's going to be a marathon. This Thunder team is going to be building over the next 7 months, and this was just step 1.
Right, and you know, it's a part of training camp. And, you know, you don't really worry so much about the wins and the losses as much as how you played. And I thought that they made in-game adjustments from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, the first half to the second half. And the second half was about pace, it was about disruption, and it was about getting out in transition. And now quietly, the Thunder shot the ball very well. I mean, from three-point land. I mean, they didn't take a very many in the first half, took a lot in the third and fourth quarter that got that percentage up there, opened up the floor, and all of a sudden the Spurs defensively were very discombobulated, and they couldn't recover from that.
Anybody else stand out to you, Michael, over the course of the game?
Well, I like the fact that, you know, the guys that came in that third quarter that hadn't played in the first half did a good job of adjusting, because there's going to be nights like that where the coach is not going to play you in the first half. You may start the third quarter. Play ready, be ready. And Bertans, man, you know, I know he's a veteran, but boy, he played beautifully like a veteran, coming in, you know, knocking down those threes and really opening up the floor for the Thunder.
All right, here we go. Preseason game number 1 in the books. The Thunder are officially out of the gate, but 4 more preseason games to go. How about Thursday night in Montreal, north of the border? What is technically going to be a home game against the Detroit Pistons. That road trip will continue into the weekend with the Charlotte Hornets. That game will be in Charlotte before, of course, Milwaukee and the finale against the Detroit Pistons again, but that game will be in Tulsa on October 19th. So 4 more games for the Thunder to get ready for the regular season, which will start on October 25th. It was a fun one here tonight at Paycom Center. 122-121, our final score. The Thunder beat the San Antonio Spurs. For Michael Cage, Nick Gallo, Paris Lawson, Eric Date, and Steve Melton back in the truck, I'm Chris Fisher. The Thunder's next preseason game will be Thursday at 6 p.m. as the Thunder will travel to Montreal to take on the Detroit Pistons. And we will have it for you on Bally Sports Oklahoma. Until then, good night from downtown OKC.